I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, March the 9th, brought to you in part by VitaFerm. What gives? Why does this coronavirus have such an effect on cattle and not so much other ag commodities? Your grains, they've been kind of volatile, but haven't fallen completely out of bed. And what's really frustrating is your box beef cutout values have been higher the last 2 weeks. So they've been up, not big time, but marginally, and maybe $1.27 on choice cutouts. Meanwhile, your fat cattle market's $7 lower. Your spot February live cattle futures down nearly $9.50. Your spot March feeder cattle down $9.50, and April feeder cattle down over $12 due to this coronavirus. And but basically it's just your funds taking advantage, and we've got so much pressure on your futures all the time. It's just so easy to tip them over and watch them dump. But your stock market was down the first big week of the coronavirus, but this last week it was volatile yet again, but didn't end the week much lower. But it's just frustrating that it has so much to do with the cattle market, and people have lost so much equity the last couple of weeks, and it's really a frustrating thing. We don't know how to prop it back up. Your hogs have been a bunch higher here this past week, but we cannot seem to find any friends in your cattle business. And actually, what does China have to do with our cattle business? Not much at all. Of course, this disease is spreading all over the country now, all over the globe, I should say, and it is hurting things, and your airlines are losing billions of dollars. We understand that, but people still got to eat, it's arguably people might eat as much beef at home on their grill as they do when they go out to eat, and when they're traveling. But we cannot seem to get this thing propped back up, and your packers continue to make more money, and they save the market on their product, their box beef cutout values. Your consumers continue to buy beef in the stores, your retailers continue to make money on it, but your cattle people get left holding the bag every time. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's mad cow disease, whether it's a plant fire, what it is, this virus, your cattle people get stuck holding the bag, and it is very, very frustrating. And that goes to show you how, you notice I don't get too excited about labeling on beef and the big fight that goes on about that, and what we should be doing as far as country of origin and all that kind of stuff. Who's to say it's going to make any difference in what cattle bring? It's just going to, it might prop up your beef a little bit more. It's just more for your packers to keep. If we try to eliminate, beef imports coming in from other countries, we can't do that. This is a global economy. Beef is just another product that we trade back and forth, just like we trade all kinds of products with other countries. We can't, jump up and down and say you can't bring any of your beef in here. Whenever we're sending them beef, and we're sending beef all over the globe, and even if we did limit countries from sending product in as far as beef, who's to say that would help the cattle market? It might prop up your beef a little bit more and make a bigger margin for your packers, but we've got to get behind something that will help, and that's why I've picked this establishing a minimum amount of negotiated fat cattle trade, and I believe that will give leverage to your cattle sellers. Your formulated guys, they're not going to fight it, because that's going to make their base price better. And I don't even think the packers are going to fight it that much, because if they lose the way that they're trading cattle now, they're going to have to find a base price somewhere, and they may not have as much control over it as what they have now. And so if they went to the board or something, a deal like this would make it really tough for them to find price transparency and establish a market. So You know, it's a frustrating deal, and I know you guys are frustrated. You get frustrated at me listening to these reports because I don't agree with you, but it's just tough times. But guys are still buying feeder cattle and calves, and if we don't continue to support our auction markets, we're not going to be able to establish a price on them, and that's what's happened to our fat cattle trade. But let's look at the board for last week. Your April live cattle futures Monday was up $2.57. We thought things were going to get better. Tuesday it moderated, down just a nickel. Wednesday up $1.17, and then Thursday down $2.62. Friday down $2.90, ending the week at $105.75, down $1.82 for the week. June at $100.02. So no, we're not going to keep your fat cattle market over $1 this summer, guys. It's going to get ugly. March feeder cattle. Monday was up $2.45. We thought, oh, hallelujah. Tuesday down 20 cents. Wednesday back up $1.32. But Thursday down $1.22. And Friday down $2.92 to end the week with March feeder cattle at $130.70. That was down 57 cents for the week. Your April feeder cattle $130.05, down $2.65. Fat cattle trade through Thursday, they had sold 79,400 head on a down market. People were scared, wanted to get rid of them. Packers more than happy to buy heavier amounts of them at lower prices there. 60,300 of them sold on Thursday. Your steers and heifers live sold from 112 to 115 and a half for the most part, but basically at 113, and that's $2 lower. Your dressed steers and heifers 180 to 182, maybe some 183 in a few spots earlier in the week, but mostly 181. That's $4 lower. So, you know, just losing market position like crazy as we're heading into larger supplies of market-ready cattle, which does not bode well. Box beef cutout values, like I mentioned at the start of the report, choice cuts, your weighted average for the week, 206.94, up 59 cents for the week's trade as your cattle are falling completely out of bed. Select up $1.91 at 201.80. That's your weighted average for the week's trade. And your choice select spread just over $5, and 608 loads, which is just kind of a moderate trading volume there. But look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 134.33, actually 33 cents higher for the week. But if you look back at cash trades, a lot of your Monday sales were higher, and that's because the board opened up a bunch higher, and people thought, man, that was a tough week we had there last week, but things are going to get better. But then it just it fell out of bed even more late in the week. But for the week in your auctions, after your higher markets on Monday, which recouped some of their losses, for the most part steady to $3 lower on feeder cattle. Now your stocker cattle, very uneven. Where you found lightweight stockers, especially if they were hard weaned and hard wintered, those cattle would bring it all. Your fleshier types, those not with no compensatory gain and not as attractive to grazer buyers, they were lower just like your feeder cattle were. But it's grass time, and guys are going to kind of look crazy with some of the prices they give on some of these grass cattle whenever they see them. But look at some top quotes late in the week there. Bloomington, Wisconsin, Bloomington Livestock Exchange, 65 head of 764-pound steers at $148. And if you guys haven't been keeping up with the market, you think, well, middle 7-weight steers at $148, not that impressive. No, that's very, very impressive. That's how tough things are, guys. Burwell, Nebraska, Burwell Livestock Market. Man, they sold the calves on Friday just like nothing ever happened, and you wonder if they get news out there in the Sandhills, but evidently guys aren't paying too much attention to it. But 90 head of 602-pound steer calves, $181.75. Wow. But you know, the rubber meets the road on 8-weight feeder steers, and that's where I like to test the market. Hasn't been that long ago that we were selling them over $1.50. And that was kind of a threshold there, and then when we lost that, it just seemed like it went down really fast. But now we can't even cling to a 140. Didn't see hardly any 8-weight steers bringing 140. But at Magnus Livestock Market, Huron, South Dakota, 63 head, 839 pound steers, 140 and a quarter. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.